My name is Germán Barahona. I'm part of the Southern Irrigation team based in Oliver. I have a degree in agricultural engineering and I'm a certified irrigation designer in BC. Each farm is different, depending on the size of the farm and the operation and crop that they have. So not every technology will be necessarily be perfect for every single condition. You, most of the time, will have to evaluate what are the goals in your specific system and then choose what technology will be appropriate for your needs. So in an established system or in a new system, the farmer always should be looking for how to improve the efficiency and the uniformity of the irrigation system that they have. Whether you are starting from beginning, which means that from design you want to address all those factors, or if you have an established system and you determine that you have to identify actually what it's preventing to have a better uniformity or why you are wasting so much water. Based on those factors, you will decide what technology is best for you. Every step that you take towards technology to be more efficient is actually a big step. Every step that you do is actually a good step in terms of, say, water and energy. So today we will be visiting 3 different systems. They have different needs and they also have different sizes. Technology may not be actually applied exactly the same in every situation. So the goal today is to show you how they are using each technology that they chose based on what they really need.
My name is Mike Anderson and I'm the Director of Farming here at Phantom Creek Estates. We're currently here at our Everton Spring Vineyard in the Similkameen Valley. Phantom Creek farms collectively about 200 acres and this site in particular is about 60 acres. The soils here are very rocky, hard to work and don't have a lot of organic matter. So the goal with our most recent irrigation project here at Everton Springs was to install an overhead irrigation system. What we're trying to accomplish with that was to increase our ability to cool our canopy during extreme heat events in the summer, but more importantly to help establish our cover crops here. So we did that by employing a new sprinkler system. It's a low flow, low pressure sprinkler from Nelson. And that is giving us the ability to have even distribution of our water over our acres by having to compensate for the changes in our slope as well as for the limitations we have with our well, which can only have a certain amount of flow to it. So another example of our system here of how we can start small with some technologies and then advance as we go along. We're running all of our irrigation control off of a 2-wire system. So that's allows us to turn on our generator to power the system, and then it'll also is wired to turn on all of our drip valves for our drip irrigation. Now again, I was fortunate they had the foresight to run all the wires to our overhead valves, so now that's installed, we're able to use that same system to run automatic timers for both our drip and our overhead irrigation. That's also got the capability, which we haven't implemented yet, that we can actually move to the next step to control those remotely. And we can actually have it eventually communicate with our weather station here that we have on site. So that'll allow us to, right now we currently can manually take our temperature and evapotranspiration data and use that to make irrigation decisions. Eventually we'll be able to have the weather station communicate with that 2-wire control system and further automate things down the line when we're ready to do that. If I was to give some advice to other producers that are looking to upgrade the irrigation system, I'd suggest planning everything right from the start, work with an irrigation designer, think everything through, even if you're not going to install it or roll it out over right away. You can do it over 2 to 5 years. I had the advantage when I started Phantom Creek. We had a lot of that was done ahead of time. We had our environmental farm plan done, which gave me access to government funding. We had the irrigation design all completed, so it was easy to roll out. And then when they actually did the initial install here, we only actually installed the drip irrigation lines, but they had the foresight to, when the infrastructure was open, to actually put in the sub-mains for the overhead. So that was all in place for me to go ahead and do the easy part, which was install everything above ground.
My name is Matt Mavidi. I'm an owner-operator of Blue Mountain Vineyards in Okanagan Falls. We're running 40 hectares of vineyards. The system we're using right now is we're pumping groundwater up. This is a change from using stored water, which would have dated back sort of a 90-year period, where we would have had a series of dams, would have been pulling water from the dams through creeks into reservoirs and then utilizing the water. So the balancing reservoir, it's a 100,000 gallon galvanized lined tank. We have inside, we'll have 2 water level sensors. So we'll basically be able to monitor what a high point and what a low point is. With the distance, we're probably about 1.5 kilometers to 2 kilometers away from where the well site is. It's not convenient for us to have to go and look every hour, a couple hours to figure out what's happening. Like, are the pumps running? Is there an issue down there? Are we getting the right water delivery? And so with the ranch system, we can either look on a computer or on the phone in order to determine what our pressures are at the well site. The system itself, for Blue Mountain, it's been an interesting change. Because when we were using the stored water, we were having to manually work on trying to keep a reservoir full coming out of a creek, so it was all manual adjustments. Guessing what you were going to do, having to sort of anticipate 2 to 3 days in advance of either needing water to be flowing out of a dam or pulling water out of a creek. Today, we can basically make our decisions in a much more timely fashion. It's become a relatively simple system.
I'm Heidi Lorch. I'm the owner-operator of Heidi's Peak Vineyard, just south of Okanagan Falls in the Okanagan Valley in BC. I have 12.7 acres, only 7.5 under vine. A lot of my vineyard is very sandy or sandy loam, so my upper bench vineyard is about 55% sand, but my lower bench vineyard is almost 80% sand. So water holding capacity there is next to nothing. So for me it was important to see what was actually happening while I was doing irrigation, and for me to invest in a soil moisture probe was a good idea, even though I'm a small scale grower, just so I could make decisions as to what I was doing on the farm. So with the probe I can see what the moisture content is, and with that I can then schedule my irrigation events in the vineyard, not wasting water. I find that with the coarse texture and the lots of sand content, that more frequent, shorter bursts of irrigation are helpful. If I irrigate longer stretches, the water just, it's rapidly drained, so there's nothing left. I have 2 benches. My upper bench is less sand, where my lower bench is a lot more sand with rapidly drained and less water holding capacity, so that's where I chose to put the probe. With my soil moisture probe, I can see where the water's sitting, and knowing that it's not just running down to 80 centimeters or 100 centimeters out of the reach of the roots. I do fertigation here, so I use an injector pump to fertigate, and I know that the nutrients are going right at the root zone, and I can see that on my probe as well. You don't have to be a huge producer, you can be a small grower in the valley, and I think any amount of technology helps with management decisions and efficiency in the vineyard, and I think water in the valley is always going to be a hot topic, especially moving forward as more irrigation is used for different crops. As technology is always evolving, there are new things to put into the plan, which I might do just to have automated settings based on my soil moisture probe.
I'm Lindsay Hainstock. I work for the BC Ministry of Agriculture and Food. One of the most important steps producers can take when preparing for funding opportunities is planning. Because there's so many steps involved and often the requirement for good irrigation design, you need to start the process early. One of our biggest funding opportunities is through our Environmental Farm Plan program. This program was introduced by the ministry to help producers get familiar with some of the legislation that impacts them and their farms, and it also helps incentivize producers by then offering funding through our BMP program. How we administer the Environmental Farm Plan program is it's a confidential service. An environmental farm planner comes out to your farm, helps walk you through the various questions and identify what sort of projects could help improve for your farm operations. Then you can apply to the BMPs, which is the funding component to help implement those projects. The best way for producers to stay up to date with the latest opportunities and programs through the ministry is to sign up for the AgriService newsletter or visit the website through the BC Ministry of Agriculture. There's also the Investment Agriculture Foundation website, where many of the programs offered by the ministry are administered through.